to an English language class with Madam Gan. Today, the topic is on SPM Writing Guide, and this is for Form 4 and Form 5. Let's look at the format for the SPM writing paper. So, first of all, the timing. It is 1 hour 30 minutes and marks 60. Number of parts, there are 3 test parts. So the types, part 1 is short communicative message. You have to write about 80 words. The second part is guided writing, 125 to 150 words. And then we have part 3, extended writing task, 3 options. So you have to choose one and you have to write 200 to 250 words. And the rating is 25% of the overall candidate's grade. Let's look at the summary of your writing paper. So part 1 is short communicative message, where you have to write an email or a letter which is informal. And part 2, it is guided writing. You have to write an essay. Normally you have to give opinion. And part 3, extended writing tasks, where there are you have to learn 4 types of writing, which are article, review, report, and story. But in the exam, there are only 3 choices, so you have to choose one of them. Let's look at part 1. So part 1, normally they will give you, in the rubrics, there are instructions and also an email given, for example, here. So you have to answer the tasks or the questions asked in the instructions or rubrics. Remember to answer what or where or who or when or how or why. And then try to provide reasons. Try to give at least 2 reasons. And then remember you have to write in about 80 words. Do remember to use linkers and also connectors. Now let's look at part 2. Part 2, you have to answer the questions in the rubric or instructions. So there are questions like what, where, who, when, how, or others like provide reasons. So write in about 125 to 150 words. And then remember, do use the linkers and the connectors. Next, we have part 3. Part 3, choose one questions to answer. So there are 3 options. Question 3, question 4, and also question 5. So remember to write on one of the questions. Answer the questions asked, which are in the instructions, like what, where, who, when, how, why, and others. Write in about 200 to 250 words, and always remember you have to use the linkers and the connectors. Dear students, for this video, we are concentrating on the units in the workbook. So this is the download workbook. We are focusing on the writing parts. So there are 12 units. So let's look at the first unit. The writing type is email. Second unit, or unit 2 is story. Unit 3, essay. Unit 4, article. Unit 5, essay. Unit 6, again, essay. Unit 7, report. Unit 8, letter. Unit 9, review. Unit 10, essay. Unit 11, article. And Unit 12, letter. Dear students, now let's start our lesson by doing the writing part for Unit 1 in the download workbook. Let's look at Unit 1. The writing part is writing an email. So read this writing task and then use the plan on page 15 of your student's book to help you write your email. When you have finished your email, check your work carefully. You have received an email from your English-speaking friend. So this is the email. I have to write about personal relationship between old and young people in families for a class project. Can you help by telling me about a relationship you have with an older family member, an older brother or sister, parent, grandparent, uncle, aunt, or cousin? What is he or she like? I don't want to ask personal questions, but can you also explain whether the relationship is a good one? and give reasons why or why not. Write soon, Jane. So here, you have to read the task carefully, start and finish in a suitable way. Introduce the topic in the first sentence of each paragraph, and then use an informal style. For example, use short forms or contractions, and remember to use linking words. Let's look at the first question. The first question is, write about relationship you have with an older family member. So this is who. And then what is he or she like? So this is what. It is about the personalities or traits or characteristics. And the last question, whether the relationship is a good one and give reasons why or why not. So this is for the question why. Let's look at the first one. Who is the person? So you can say it is relationship with an older family member. So maybe you can choose father. And then for number two, what is the person like? So you can write about your father's characteristics, traits, or personalities. Example, strict, a disciplinarian, fair, loving, caring, or hardworking. And then why? It is about whether the relationship is a good one, and you have to give reasons why or why not. So you can say relationship is good because you can understand why your father is strict with you. It is for you to be more disciplined and successful. And then you also spend time together. Then you can write examples of what do you do with your father. Dear students, here are some positive traits about a person. So you can look at the traits here, study the traits. There are many like active, admirable, adventurous, agreeable, and there are many others. So try to go through the list, and if you can't understand some of the traits, you can refer to a dictionary. Dear students, here is another list for negative character traits. But my advice is to write more on the positive traits. Let's look at some character traits of a father. You can say that he's a good disciplinarian. My father loves his child or children, but he doesn't let us or me get away with murder. He strongly disapproves of his children's misdeeds, using tough love to prove a point. He does this through the power of his words, not his fists. And then you can write another answer. He teaches his children to appreciate things. You can say, my father never lets me or his children take what they have or I have for granted. He asked me to get a job to help pay for a part of my first laptop or smartphone. And then he takes the time to illustrate how important a good education is. He doesn't let his kids treat him like an ATM. So you can give example. You can say that last year when you bought a smartphone, your father asked you to do a few odd jobs or chores in the house so that you can also pay for your smartphone. Let's look at more character traits of a father. You can say that he leads by example. My father doesn't subscribe to the do as I say, not as I do saying. He will not smoke if he doesn't want his kids to do it, and definitely won't drink heavily. He teaches us to deal with conflict with a family member and with others by being firm but reasonable at the same time. He lives by the values he wants his children to follow. Another trait is he teaches his children lessons. He molds his kids into well-rounded members of the society. He especially instructs us in proper etiquette, on being honest and keeping our word, and on being thankful. There are more positive traits of a father here. So you can say that he protects his family at all costs. As the main provider of security and necessities, my father will do whatever he can for his family. He'll take a second job to provide for me, and he'll put his own safety on the line to keep me out of harm's way. So you can write another trait, a positive one, which is he shows unconditional love. Even though he gets upset at his children's faults and may lament that they did not attain what he hoped for them, my father loved his children no less for it. Dear students, here are more character traits of a father. You can write he's supportive and loyal. He supports his children's decision. He's a safety net, the person his kids can turn to when things go wrong. And the last one is he spends quality time with his children. My dad knows how to have fun with his kids too, taking us out to outings, movies, attending important performances and games. He takes the time to listen to us and have a good, easy chat with us. He also makes time to help us with our homework every night if necessary. Now let's look at some character traits of mother. The first one, you can say she is trustworthy. This is one of the fundamental traits of a good mother-child relationship. Children must be able to trust their mother and vice versa. So she is not suspicious of me or her children. She trusts me or us in a free way so that I or we can feel secure around her. So the next one, she understands. We can say understanding leads to openness. My mother and I are able to discuss anything because there is understanding between us. She is approachable. This is by being genuine and calm in all situations. I know that my mother thinks what I say is important. Therefore, I'm always confident enough to explain my problems to her with no fear. Let's look at more positive traits of a mother. She is flexible, open-minded, and easygoing. You can write mom is easygoing and open-minded, so she is excellent at resolving arguments. She does not engage in shouting matches with her children. In addition to that, mom offers her children some opinions or options and encourages dialogue whenever possible. And next we have mom is a good role model for her child. Mom shows how to behave through modeling. The words that mom speaks and how she interacts with other people inspire us or me to emulate and eventually make this sort of behavior my identity or our identity. Next, we have two more traits. She provides constant support. As my mother is supportive, this creates a sense of security for me. I look up to my mother for support. She is the ever-present support mechanism. Whenever her child is in trouble, mother asks what is wrong and how she can help. In addition to that, she gives her child the freedom to make their own decisions. Or you can use a singular, she gave me the freedom to make my own decisions. The last one is she compromises. To my mother, her children come first. This means that she may have to compromise some of her happiness and desires for the sake of the children. Dear students, now let's look at some of the model answers. Dear students, let's look at the first answer. So remember that you're supposed to write in about 80 words. But maybe if your writing is smaller or you still have more space or some space to write, you can write longer. So here to jane122@gmail.com. Remember that you have to have the correct way of writing the email. Then the subject, personal relationship. For an email, remember that you have to have the correct plan or format. So there should be a greeting like hi or dear Jane or hello Jane, and then you have to have the introduction. In the introduction, you can ask about your friend's health or condition, and you can also share news. For example, here the greeting is hi, introduction, how are you? I'm a bit occupied with the state science competition. So this is sharing news. And then the contents, you can write the contents in one or two paragraphs. So the first one, remember that you have to answer the questions or the tasks in the rubrics. So the first task is, who is the person? So I'll tell you about my relationship with my father. So this is for task 1. And for task 2, you have to write about the person's personalities, traits, or characteristic. So here, let's look at the answers. My father is quite strict with his children, but I see this trait as being a good disciplinarian. He's a good father who loves his children, but he doesn't let us get away with murder. He also teaches us to appreciate things. Therefore, my siblings and I never take what we have for granted. And the last task is task 3. So this is about why is the relationship good or why is it bad. So you can write, I have a great or a good relationship with my father or him. We often have fun together. He takes us out to games, movies, and attends important school events. So you can then write the conclusion. So skip a line, go down and write, hope to hear from you soon. And then don't forget to sign off. You can write bye and write your name, Anita. Here you cannot put a signature because it is an email. Let's look at the next model answer. So the greeting, hi, how are you? Your project sounds interesting. So this is the introduction. And then let's look at the contents. So you must answer the 3 tasks. So the first one, who is the person? So you can write, I write about my mother. And then the second task is to describe her personalities. So you can say, she is flexible, open-minded, and easygoing. In addition, she is excellent at resolving arguments. She does not engage in shouting matches with her children. And the last part, you can write the uh, relationship, whether it is good or not. So you can write, we have a healthy mother-child relationship. I always talk to her about my problems as she understands me very well. She offers me some options and encourages dialogue whenever possible. So remember that you have to write or you have to answer all the 3 tasks. And then you have the conclusion. Well, got to go now. Can't wait to hear from you. And then sign off by and then write your name, John. So this is the second sample. Dear students, let's look at the last sample. So here you have Dear Jane for greeting. You can also write Hi Jane or Hello Jane or Dearest Jane. Then we have the introduction. I'll try to help you the best I can with your project. Then we have the contents. The contents we can write in 2 paragraphs. Remember that you have to answer all the 3 tasks. So the first task is who is the person. In my family, I'm very close with my grandmother as she's been staying with us after the death of my grandfather. And then for task 2, you have to describe the personalities, characteristics or traits. Amma is a respected matriarch, strong-willed and fierce-tempered. But on the other hand, she's generous, sometimes to a fault. Moreover, she puts the need of the family above her own. Then task 3 will be the whether the relationship is a good one, why or why not. So we have a great relationship as I can approach her with my worries and the first thing she does is bring me to the kitchen and we will cook and chat. And then you have to continue with the closing. Well, got to go now. Then sign off. Love, Mary. Dear students, we have come to the end of our lesson for today. And just now you learned how to write an email for the first part of the SPM writing paper. I hope you have learned a lot today. And then do remember to subscribe to my channel. It is called Educator Omni Tube. I'm Madam Gan. So see you in my next lesson. Bye bye.